तो यार अक्सर ये सवाल सुनने को मिलता है कि सर मैंने लिंक्डइन पे देखा बहुत सारे लोग डाल रहे हैं कि उनको कनाडा में इंटर्नशिप मिल गई है। सर बहुत सारे लोगों ने ये भी डाला है कि वो ना किसी फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी में रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप कर रहे हैं। सर बहुत सारे लोग डालते हैं कि उनको आईआईटीज में इंटर्न करने का चांस मिल रहा है। बट सर ये हमें पता नहीं चलता कि रिसर्च अपॉर्चुनिटीज कैसे मिलती हैं, इनको हम कैसे अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, इनके लिए क्या क्या प्रोसीजर होता है और ये कहाँ पे निकलती है। मतलब आप लोग तो सब सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर इंटर्नशिप्स बोलते रहते हो कि ये वाली कंपनी में निकली है, ये वाली कंपनी में निकली है, बट ये रिसर्च वाली इंटर्नशिप्स कैसे मिलती हैं, इसमें क्या स्टाइपेंड भी मिलता है, हमें कितना स्टाइपेंड मिलता है, मतलब क्या क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज होती हैं, क्या हमें बाहर जाने का मौका मिलता है, क्या फंडिंग मिलती है हमें बाहर जाने के लिए। बहुत सारे सवाल ऐसे आते हैं जो कि लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल आर कंफ्यूज्ड अबाउट कि यार रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स कैसे मिल सकती हैं, इंडिया में रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स का क्या स्कोप है, एंड अगर मुझे इंटरनेशनली किसी फॉरेन कंट्री में पेनिसिल्वेनिया में, स्विट्जरलैंड में, जर्मनी में इंटर्नशिप करनी है अंडर एनी प्रोफेसर, अंडर एनी यूनिवर्सिटी, एंड मुझे फर्दर एमएस भी करनी है उसके बाद, मतलब बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस दिमाग में आते हैं ना कि रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स। एंड ये चीज ऐसी है कि इफ यू आर इन योर फर्स्ट ईयर तो तुम फर्स्ट ईयर में भी कर सकते हो, सेकंड ईयर में हो सेकंड ईयर में कर सकते हो, थर्ड ईयर में हो थर्ड ईयर में कर सकते हो। इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है कि मतलब तुम्हें समझ नहीं आएगी या समथिंग वेरी डिफरेंट, सबके लिए एप्लीकेबल है। बट जस्ट वन थिंग दैट यू नीड, यू शुड बी मोर पैशनेट, यू शुड बी मोर हार्ड वर्किंग, एंड तुम्हें सब चीजों के बारे में पता होना चाहिए। तो आज की वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं ईशी पटेल से। शी इज करंटली डूइंग अ रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप एट यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पेनिसिल्वेनिया. Currently, she is a final year student at VIT and she has also cracked a software engineer internship at Siemens. तो हम उनसे बात करेंगे, उनसे जानेंगे कि what is the difference between a software engineer internship and a research internship, और मतलब उन्होंने कैसे रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स में अप्लाई करना स्टार्ट किया, कैसे अपना पोर्टफोलियो बनाया, रिज्यूमे में उनके ऐसा क्या खास था कि शी वॉज सिलेक्टेड फॉर सच अ प्रेस्टिजियस यूनिवर्सिटी। तो यार बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस इस वीडियो में तुम्हारे आंसर होने वाले हैं, तो वीडियो को एंड तक जरूर देखना। एंड अगर वीडियो को लाइक नहीं किया तो वीडियो को लाइक कर दो, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दो। वी आर रीचिंग 50,000 सब्सक्राइबर्स वेरी वेरी सून। तो यार अगर तुम लाइक करोगे, सब्सक्राइब करोगे तो चैनल की ग्रोथ में और फायदा होगा, एंड अल्टीमेटली विल बी रीचिंग आवर गोल ऑफ 50,000 सब्सक्राइबर्स। तो डोंट फॉरगेट टू लाइक दिस वीडियो, सब्सक्राइब कर देना चैनल को, एंड चलते हैं वीडियो की तरफ। हाय गाइस, बिफोर मूविंग ऑन टू द वीडियो आई वुड लाइक टू टॉक अबाउट educative.io. educative.io offers hands on courses with live developer environments. मतलब इसमें ना तुम्हें वीडियोस की बजाय you will get hands on practice along with that text based courses. बहुत ही amazingly designed courses होते हैं, बहुत सारे लोगों ने इन कोर्सेज को रेकमेंड किया है। educative.io offers hands-on courses with live developer environments. Like you can learn faster using their text-based courses instead of videos. Focus upon the parts that you are more interested in and skim through the parts that you are not. Check out the best-selling Grouping the Interview Preparation Series. मतलब इनका बहुत फेमस कोर्स है Grouping the Interview Preparation Series with courses like Grouping the System Design Interview and Grouping the Coding Interview. दोनों ही कोर्सेज मतलब the best consider किए जाते हैं मार्केट में. The newest edition they have also launched Grouping the Machine Learning Interview course, actually focuses on the system design side of machine learning by helping you design the real ML system, जैसे कि ad prediction system. Like it is the one of the best kinds of courses present on the internet. So if you are looking forward to check out educative.io, I'll give the link in the description below, and also say you can get additional 10% discount on educative.io subscription. तो जाके एक बार चेक जरूर कर लेना educative.io है क्या, क्या करती है. You will get something out of it definitely. तो चलते हैं वीडियो की तरफ. Hi everyone, this is Joel. Welcome back to another podcast. This is going to be a really special podcast because I have someone who has been into research roles, and she'll be guiding us through various programs in research. We'll talk about how freshers can apply for research internships, research roles, and what is necessary, what should be the pathway for research roles. Each and everything we are going to discuss today with a very special guest. She's Ishi, and she's from VIT Vellore. So we'll start this podcast with a brief introduction of Ishi.
Hi, Arch. First of all, I'm really glad to be at your channel. I've been following it from a while, and it's really helped me to get opportunities myself. So I'm really thankful for this channel. And a little brief about myself. I am a final year student at VIT Vellore. I am pursuing my BTech in Computer Science and Engineering with a specialization in Information Security. And I have done plenty of internships and research internships throughout my 4 years, like even in the academia as well as industry. So I would love to share my experience in all this.
That's super amazing to hear, Ishi. So would like to start with your college journey, like how your college started and like how you exactly started programming, or what was your programming journey be like?
Sure. So I started very early. Like I found my calling towards data science and machine learning within my first year itself. Like I would say that in my college experience, clubs and chapters played a major role. Like I joined one of my university's most premier chapter, that is ACM, and through that, like interaction with seniors, the professors who were involved in the chapter, it really motivated me to build the future in data science. So that's how I got interested in it in the first place. And if you see like what you need to become a future data scientist, you will see that people are mostly PhDs or master students, and they have immense effort into they have put immense effort into research. So that's how I was like, "Ki, I have to do something in research," and I started off. Speaking of some specifics, my current CGPA is 8.84, and I'm not a 9 pointer, so yay for all those people out there. And yeah, so even with my internship journey, I started pretty early. I started interning from the first year itself, like after my first year, summer vacation we get. I started interning right from there. And yeah, that's a little about me.
That's great to hear. We'll talk about a lot of things. Like, firstly, I would like to start with what exactly a person does in his research internship and how it is different from a normal software engineering internship. Like, we have been speaking a lot about SD internship or software engineer role or some other
Mhm.
industry in which a person goes and pursues or her internship. But a research internship is something that is considered to be different. People are not majorly clear about that. So I would like to know what exactly, like you have gone through both of them. So what exactly is the difference between them?
Okay, so one major difference I would say in the beginning itself would be that when you are in an SDE role, like an outcome that you would expect after an internship would be like you have made an app, you have debugged something, or you have made a website, something like that, right? But when you come to research, it is more about academics itself. Like you are just deep diving into one field a lot and researching about it. So if I had to put it in outcomes, you would say an outcome could be like a research paper. You are assisting a professor with their research and come through like with some breakthrough in technology. Again, this is all from a perspective of a computer science research internships. Okay, like research internships can be like in literally any field, whether it be mechanical, civil. So nobody has this whole barrier there that you have to be proficient in coding. That's another major point here. And yeah, another thing is that you get to take and do research in very unique spaces, and it need not be confined to like one solid area. Like, let's say, the medical field. You don't have to be a doctor to research in the medical field. Me, as a computer scientist, can also take part here by, making things that, maybe predict diseases or something like that. And if you notice, like even professors all around India as well as internationally are always researching and putting computer science in all sorts of different fields. So that way, you get a lot of things to research at. Then another difference I would say you could see in the stipend structure. Like you would see that SD roles are very flashy, very good money, insanely amazing. But when it comes to research, I would say that they are mostly unpaid or have a lower end stipend structure, at least in India, compared to SDE roles. But you get the added benefit of getting funded for your research paper. So if you get a good research paper as an outcome of your research internship, the university you're working with or the industry you're working with usually sponsors that paper, and usually if you want to get this paper published at top conferences, you, the fee is around 10,000 to 20,000 rupees, and when that is being sponsored, that's a great thing. And sometimes when you are doing that in international conferences, that even gets more expensive, almost thousands of dollars. So if that's getting sponsored and you're getting your name on a very good conference top paper, that's like really good for your profile.
That's something that I believe most of us would not be knowing, and something that would add us to like add to our experience of the research internship is or a research.
Yes.
So, I would like to understand a little more about how a fresher, like let's say a student who is in his second year or third year, if he
Hmm.
forward to research roles and he's interested towards or I can say inclined towards research roles, so what all opportunities are available for him in like if I talk about some domestic roles in industry and academia. We'll talk about domestic roles first and then we'll move on to international roles after that. So when I say about domestic roles, so what all opportunities can he go for and how to apply for these roles?
Okay, so as a second year, okay, first let me talk about, there are two kinds of roles that you will find in research. One are proper programs that you will see out there, like MITAX is for Canada, or most of the IITs have their own research programs where you properly, like an SDE, like an SDE role, you will apply there. There'll be a resume screening, you'll go through interviews, and then get selected. So when there is a research program, that's how you go about it. And then there is a project-based approach. So you that's a very tedious approach, but again, the outcomes are almost the same. So in the project-based approach, you basically what you have to do is that you have to research over your professors first, what projects they are doing, decide on those projects, and then write a mail, old-fashioned way, that I like your project, I am keen on contributing to it. If there is a position, please consider me, and send in your resume or something like that. Okay, and you send that mail. So in India, we have the luxury of both the types of research internships, programs as well as projects. But the problem is that when it comes to the programs, they are highly selective since they are out there for everyone to apply on a simple form. Thousands of people apply, and obviously the selection process also becomes very tough to crack, and very few, creme de la creme of people get through it. And I mean, I would say that in my experience, I've also seen that a slight preference is given towards the tier one universities as well in these kind of programs. But when it comes to project based internships and you just blindly apply by writing a mail to professors, you can, first of all, you get the luxury to tell your story through the mail, like how passionate you are, because it's not like you have to, fill a form. There will be filters that you'll get filtered out. Here you can actually tell everything about you, and if the professor gets to read your profile, they can actually select you without any of these filters, because you get to tell your story. So yeah, that's another option you can go with. So these are the two types of research internships. I would say two types of ways to get research internships, both outside India as well as inside India.
Understood. So when I say in India, like I have
Hmm.
my understanding, there are different programs by IITs. Like there is some program named as Spark by IIT Roorkee.
Yeah.
Different,
Then
different.
there is Search by IIT Gandhinagar. There are a lot, like most of the IITs definitely host one, but I have seen even triple ITs, they have their own programs. I think triple IT Delhi has a very notable program, and their faculty is amazing, so you can definitely check that out. Then even I think Manipal has one, and I have seen even VIT has one, but it's not that pronounced. It's in fact VIT rather takes interns from a very the second method that I said, like the cold mailing procedure. VIT takes interns like that. So that way, basically, it ensures that you get an internship. You can get an research internship anywhere you want. You don't have to depend on the program that this university has a program or not. You can get an internship like in any university you like.
Understood. And particularly if we talk about international universities,
Mhm.
like how the things go in while applying for international universities, professors of international universities, what all things are they looking forward to, or something that you would like to add?
Yeah, so in international universities, obviously they become way more pickier compared to the Indian universities. So one thing I would say that they prefer is you have prior experience in research. So before jumping to maybe international ones, you should maybe have gained some experience domestically so that you can show the international people that, hey, I have some experience and I'm very keen about it, because they love to see the passion, like you have been doing it, and then they will definitely take you. But another thing you have to understand and consider is that because they are very pickier, you will find a lot of bad luck also with it. Like I'll tell you actual stats. Like this is what I have faced. Like I wrote about 150 emails to professors all over the world, and I got called back from like about maybe 10. That's it. So these are very busy people. They don't even check their mails at times, and it just gets lost in their mailbox or something like that. And or they don't even have an opening, so they simply ignore. So you have to be very patient and diligent with, like, don't give hope. Okay, I have sent 10 out and I didn't get, so forget it, it's not my cup of tea. You have to be very diligent with it and keep on mailing people, and then finally, like, you'll get some amount of replies. I can guarantee that it's not going to go all waste.
So, like, you have a first-hand experience of getting a research internship in a
Mhm.
that is University of Pennsylvania. So, I'd like to understand like what process you followed or how you approach for this particular internship, so that viewers can get an idea on how to approach for such.
Sure. So out of my 150 mails, one was given to Dr. Sudeep Bhatia at the Computational Behavioral Science Lab at University of Pennsylvania. Again, this was like a long shot. I mean, University of Pennsylvania is an Ivy League, and nobody expects to hear from them unless you are like some next level amazing person. But I wrote this mail with a lot of passion and keen that hello, professor. So like I can explain the body of my mail. I said, hello, professor. Uh, I am this, and this is my profile. And these, I mentioned my research work. Like prior to University of Pennsylvania, I had researched with IIT Patna, and I had researched with Deakin University, Australia previously. So I mentioned my research over there, and I also sent him links of my live projects as well as research papers which had been published by them. And I additionally also wrote that what research work of his interests me and how can I contribute to his research work. So like you can't write a mail very like a generic mail and send it to him. That he will figure out that it's a very generic mail. If you tailor it, that's what will catch his eye. And so that's what I did. I literally sat down and researched like what all his interests are, what all projects he's currently working on, and how I can be actually a useful person for him to assist. So that's all what I mentioned in my mail. And I also aspired actually to continue my master's there one day. So I mentioned that as well. And I gave my resume, current resume, with my link to my research papers. And that's it. After, I think, 3 to 4 days, I heard from him. And I was really excited to open my mail, but he said that there wasn't an opening currently with his uh, lab, and I was very disappointed. But he also mentioned that there might be an opening in about 3-4 months. So get back to me then, and we'll see what if we can do something about it. And that's where I didn't lose hope. After 3-4 months, I made sure I reply back to him and followed up, and he was actually very impressed that I came back to him, and he was like, oh wow, so you came back and looks like you're very persistent, and uh, you really want this, so I'll give it to you. And that's how I got my internship.
So I think like what I can understand and figure out from this is patience is very, very important when we are applying it.
Very important, yes. Especially if like you are taking this whole project-based approach, because the program-based approach, I mean, the system is only made that way that it becomes very hard, at least for tier two, tier three colleges to even, qualify and at least get their resume to the professor, because they usually get filtered out because of the CGPA or college branding and all that, especially in international programs. Like that is one way they really try to minimize the amount of applicants.
Also, like I hope this experience would be really helpful for many, and they'll be more patient and diligent. And like following up is something that's most important in such cases. That's something we have seen from Ishi's story. Would like to understand more about a resume for research role. What all things you feel like one should put in his resume if he's tailoring it really for research roles, and like for SG roles, we all know like the things that he has done. Maybe it's his skills related to software engineering or some previous internships or one or two projects in software development maybe.
Mhm.
But how exactly it is different for a research internship or a research role?
So like whatever you mentioned for the SD role, that all obviously it has to be there for a research role as well, because it doesn't harm. In fact, it just shows you how good you are as a developer. And additionally, though, you will have to showcase your technical writing skills, because anyone who goes for a research internship, as I said, is aiming for a research paper at the end, because that's like the biggest thing you can get out of it. And for research paper, the professor should know that you are able to do technical writing. So one way you can do it is with research papers. Like that's like the most preferred way. But let's say if you are like a fresher and this must be your first research internship, you can always replace the research paper with good technical writing, like to make articles on Medium or Geeks for Geeks, all that. Like you can replace the research paper criteria with good technical articles at reputed places. Additionally, if you don't even have that, you can, send in your project reports that you make for your colleges. Like there is a project component, and you make a full length project reports detailing every aspect of the project, right? So once you know how to actually document that, that again helps as a technical writing example for your resume. So these things you can add to make your profile better. Also, like skills pertaining to the particular project you are applying, I feel that is also like a very important thing to add. Like if let's say there's a project saying it requires natural language processing, uh, just writing plain that you know ML, TensorFlow, that won't help. If you specifically say that you know how to, like use Spacey, which is a library used for natural language processing, or NLTK, something like that, that will make the impact. Uh, Also, like one more thing, like I would like to add that uh, it in research internships, you get the flexibility to actually choose what you want to work on, like according to your wishes and your interests. And that's something I have noticed, like with SDE roles, it might get lost. Like, don't get me wrong, in SDE also you can do what you want, but I would take the example of like MNCs like Amazon. So, like, how you go about in the process is you get selected for Amazon and then you get a project allotted. You don't really get to choose, right? That you want to work in something you like. But in research internships, you can throughout be the, leader of your choice, and like whatever you want to do, you can do in research internships from totally your perspective. That's also one thing I would like people to know about research internships.
Like one is the has the complete ownership for that particular
Yeah, exactly.
research project. That's great. I hope this episode would be really helpful for someone looking out for research roles. Like I have been getting a lot of queries for research roles, and I was feeling like I am not able to answer all those. So they have been answered very well by Ishi. At the last, one final piece of advice from your end to someone who is looking forward to such research roles.
I mean, like, number one advice would be just have patience because professors, as we know, we deal with them in college also on a daily basis. They are very moody people. So you have to be very patient with them. But, and don't lose hope. It's like just one rejection or one, no, like not getting back by these professors. You have to keep sending them continuously and you will get there eventually, definitely.
So I hope this was really very insightful for everyone. Now go ahead and if you are interested into research roles, pick up the email IDs for different professors who are working in some amazing projects and go start writing out mails. Also, I would link in the social media handles of Ishi. You can connect with her if you have any more doubts related to it. Thank you so much, Ishi, once again for coming here and sharing your journey. All the best to you for your upcoming journey.
Thank you so much. It
तो
is
यार आई होप ये वीडियो तुमको काफी पसंद आई होगी, मतलब बहुत सारी नॉलेज मिली होगी कि कैसे रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स में अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। अगर तुम्हें इंडिया में रिसर्च इंटर्नशिप्स में अप्लाई करना है, रिसर्च फुल टाइम रोल्स में अप्लाई करना है तो कैसे कर सकते हो, अगर तुम्हें फॉरेन में अप्लाई करना है तो कैसे कर सकते हो, तुम ना रिज्यूमे कैसे बना सकते हो। मतलब बहुत ही ज्यादा इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो थी। अगर तुम्हें वीडियो पसंद आई हो तो वीडियो को लाइक जरूर कर देना एंड अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर कर देना ताकि सबको हेल्प हो सके एंड मतलब और ज्यादा से ज्यादा टीयर 2 टीयर 3 वाले बच्चे जिनके पास इन चीजों की नॉलेज नहीं है उनके पास ये नॉलेज पहुंच सके। लाइक माय मेजर मोटिव है कि सब लोगों को एटलीस्ट पता हो कि ये चीजें अवेलेबल है। जब वो कॉलेज खत्म हो जाता है उसके बाद वो रिग्रेट करते हैं कि यार हमारे पास ये अपॉर्चुनिटी थी, हमें पता ही नहीं था। तो मेक श्योर अपने दोस्तों को भी बता देना, वीडियो को लाइक जरूर कर देना एंड कमेंट करके बताओ कि वीडियो कैसी लगी। थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन फॉर द लव एंड सपोर्ट।